if we keep on repeating or saying much, we have to also understand that what the North in particular and Nigeria at large need most is action. Yeah, whatever we are saying now, it had been said 20 years back. What I want us to do is to ask ourselves a simple question. Why is it poverty is becoming persistent in the North? The answer is simple. Because there is corruption. And what came into your mind when I said corruption is economic corruption. Mr. Chairman, sir, we are having economic corruption in Nigeria because of moral corruption. Amorality is too much in Nigeria. And that's why the last speaker was complaining about a poor man, that a program designed for him will not be accessible for him because a corrupt person will wait for him to have somebody to speak for him. Until when Nigerians can speak for themselves, no matter how poor they are, and no matter what background they belong to, we cannot change the scenario. If every Nigerian, the poor man, the farmer at home, at the village, will speak and everybody will hear him because he's a Nigerian, because the program is meant for him, then we can now say we are having a new Nigeria. It is possible to have a better Nigeria, to take Nigeria back to the lost glories. But how? Let's change our minds. Let's start building the family. The family is the starting point. All these bandits, criminals that we are breeding, who breed them? Is it not the family? They are members of the family. Secondly, if we want to change anything, we have to look at the rate of out-of-school children in Nigeria. Permit me to remind you, Mr. Chairman, that a bill was signed into law during the last administration, at the last days of the last administration. I'm talking about the Almajiri and out-of-school child law or some commission. The Almajiri and out-of-school child commission was signed into law. If we can utilize it as a way to bringing back those children into their senses and into the normal life they're supposed to live, we can make a great impact in changing the North. But remember what I said, we must first and foremostly start by fighting corruption. And I mean moral corruption. Moral decadence is our problem. We have to change ourselves. Let me lastly give you an example of what we must change. Our time management. Why is it in every gathering that we will come and be challenging ourselves that is it 11 for 11 or 10 for 9 or 9 for 10? It's because we don't respect time. We don't manage time. And we even agree to have what we call African time. This is immorality. We must change it. We must manage our time, utilize it very well, and know that if you cannot manage time, you cannot manage any resources.
This is important gathering. All the dignitaries, except few, have been introduced by the MC. It is not therefore my duty to repeat calling names, but will remind him of some who are very, very important to us in this organization for mention later. You will recall that we had the first conference in this very magnificent edifice, the hall opposite us, the Niger Hall, where we agreed and submitted ourselves to the service of Nigeria through the upliftment of the northern part of Nigeria, not because we are parochial, but because we are realists. We ought to change our style and strategy in dealing with the issues and problems of northern Nigeria. If Nigeria as a nation would move forward to claim its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. Some of the issues raised during that particular conference included, but not limited to, poverty, illiteracy, ill health, lack of understanding between key religious and ethnic groups, laziness, and in fact, complete lack of confidence in trying to do what is right. This morning and throughout the afternoon, inshallah, we are going to move forward as a follow-up in our quest to tackle poverty in northern Nigeria headlong. This particular theme of today's conference is moving households from vulnerability to prosperity. The key issue is household. The conveners decided to really address the basic issues of life, starting from the household. And let me quickly add that so long as we continue to forget the basic ethics of maintaining and raising a household, Nigerian society in general and northern society in particular will be the worst for it. Many of us will recall that when we were children, at our houses, we learned our basic religious duties, whether from the Christian point of view or from the Islamic point of view. In primary schools, our parents never abandoned us. They taught us to respect one another and to also realize that other religions matter. We have virtually abandoned this basic issue. And we also let loose our youth to find the level of water for them, which is not good. At the beginning of life, there always must be affirmative action to mold the character of young people, to know what they should do when they grow up and to contribute their quota. Not only were we taught religious duties, ethics, and practices, we are also taught the dignity of labor, manual labor. No matter what, whether you are the son of an emir or a priest or an imam, you must go to farm. You must be taught how to earn a living. And nobody is left like that. And throughout our religious histories, we know that our prophets, we are not left alone just to preach, evangelize, and sermon. A good example is that of Prophet David. He had his own trade, which was known to all the religions. Therefore, these issues that made it very formidable for us to rise as responsible citizens of this country were forgotten. And if you dare not to talk to young people on their religion, dignity of manual labor, trade, industry, education, you will never find a society that will tackle poverty alleviation. If you don't know your Creator, you don't know your God and how to serve Him, you are in trouble. Serving your Creator means that you should do it with sincerity, you should do it with truth, and you should do it with everything that is desirable. We are left with a society which thrives on lies, breaking promises, fighting one another, and hopefully this trend must change. Somebody came to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and confessed that I am notorious in doing so many things which Allah forbids. I engage in fornication, I engage in theft, and I engage in telling lies, among others. But I want to change. So the Prophet asked him to choose one of these vices that he felt he would abandon. If you do it after 1 month, come back to me. Went, and he saw the market of theft was thriving. So he said, let me do this theft once and forget about it. But he remembered that if I go to the Holy Prophet and told him that I really stole, I would confess that I am not a good man. If I hide it, I would expose myself as a liar. So he considered all the other things, including alcoholism, that is the fourth one. Now, if I take more and more alcohol and refuse to tell the truth, I'm in trouble because the Prophet would know. At the end, he chose to stop telling lies. And in doing that, all the other three were stopped. We are in a society today where telling lies is the best that can describe our leadership. And if the younger ones know that the big ones like us will strive in telling lies, they would not find telling lies evil. Because that is what we wear, that is what we are proud of, and that we also cherish. So in tackling this thing from the household, these basic issues must be addressed, and that our household should be institutions of producing truthful young people, hardworking young people, patriotic young people, so that the nation will be better for it. I'm happy this morning that the gathering is of serious people. No voluntary gathering like this is always attended on time, especially if it's a gathering trying to improve the moral situation of the country or the religious fellowship of the country. But if a gathering is of political nature, you see that the whole of this place would have been filled. So I want to encourage you to know that what you have done this morning by attending this particular conference is something that will attract the pleasure of your Creator to your inner selves. You should not regret being here. You should not regret spending time. You should pray that you will be part and parcel of changing the northern Nigerian situation with a view to creating a greater Nigeria. I am confident that our resource persons will do justice to this particular topic. And in the final analysis, our recommendations will, inshallah, be found to be worthy of consideration by the government in power. I would want to assure you that through our humble leadership, we'll try and face the government, because that is our duty, that is our responsibility. Our responsibility is not to just say that the government is not working. The government must work through our contributions. The government must be responsible through our being responsible. The government must be committed through our commitment. We are a patriotic group of Nigerians. We are planning and we are determined that we will not fail, because we know that success is what Allah, our Creator, has always encouraged us to do. There is no failure if you try. I wish you very successful deliberations, fruitful, and then beautiful outcomes. The outcomes which in Allah's pleasure will be stamped and then communicated to the people that are in power for the improvement of the generality of the people, that is from household to highest level of governance.
Where many of you seated here, distinguished men and women from different walks of life, and especially from amongst the core leadership of the North, attended and gave insights and perspectives on this very important aspect that is of concern to every northerner in present-day Nigeria, the issue of poverty, and how the renewed hope agenda can be exploited as a means of overcoming the menace amongst the vast majority of our people. The outcome of that first session has charted the way forward in reawakening the North to its development responsibility, which has been put together into a working document. A copy of the report and the communique is contained in our participant folders. Following this encouraging outing, ANA is once again opening the space by providing another avenue for convergence to deepen the discussion around strategies to deal with this cankerworm called poverty. May I take a few moments to give a background and lay before you 7 initiatives that ANA is putting forward as solutions to ending poverty in northern Nigeria. The background and introduction. The speech is in the document, so you can just have to go through it. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. It has 36 states and a federal capital territory. Northern Nigeria, comprising 19 states with a population of about 160 million people, is one of the prides Nigeria has. A GDP of about $3,203 per capita, and ranked the 6th major oil-producing nation in the world. 86.9 million Nigerians out of an estimated 200 million are living in extreme poverty. This represents nearly 50% of the populace. Of these figures, 85% are in northern Nigeria. Past efforts and enhancing the confidence of the people to take that critical step out of poverty is faced with some very worrying socio-economic indices, including illiteracy, high maternal mortality, child mortality, poverty, and underdevelopment. These indices are worst in the coast states of northern Nigeria. Therefore, poverty in Nigeria is mostly rural. Macroeconomic shocks tend to affect rural areas much more than the cities. This is the basis of the rural-urban migration. What has worked that needs to be adapted. Arewa New Agenda has within its membership seasoned development specialists who have led interventions for the provision of services that help very vulnerable families to diversify income sources, implement strong and comprehensive nutrition that enable them to move along and climb the ladder of the pathway to prosperity. The different strategies they employed address the needs of the different categories of the poor: the extremely poor, the extremely vulnerable, the vulnerable, market limited, and market enabled, helping them to meet the nutritional needs, recover assets, and overcome barriers in income generating activities. The ANA propositions. ANA has proposed 7 areas. One is called the Pathway to Prosperity approach. This concept matches vulnerable households and communities with the skills they need to engage effectively in the local economy using a tested, workable caseworker model, whereby each household receives individualized support from a trained community liaison that helps the household to map their assets and set goals, develop and implement targeted plans over a designated timeline, a set timeline for getting out of poverty. In the first instance, this initiative will support about 100,000 vulnerable households per state to increase production and productivity within 15 months. States and local governments could be encouraged and trained to adapt and integrate this approach for increased service delivery and community involvement in governance. Number 2, farming and agriculture. Northern Nigeria is an agrarian community whose main economy is agriculture-based. In some states of northern Nigeria, they refer to themselves as food baskets of the nation, the home of farming, and terms such as farming is our pride. The Renewed Hope agenda of the Tinubu administration says that, I quote, historically, Nigeria has been an agricultural nation. Even today, a little less than half of the people live in rural communities, earning their livelihoods from the soil and in the process helping to feed the nation. However, only 35% of arable land in Nigeria is presently cultivated. Our target shall be to increase this number to 65% in 4 years. ANA proposes that engaging the provisions made by this government to address the inadequacies in farming and agriculture by providing different interventions in the agricultural sector to enhance agricultural productivity, such as agro-allied industry, food security and farm incomes, improved food security and domestic production of food, improved seedlings and farming inputs, increase arable land cultivation from current 35% to 65% in the first 4 years. This is designed to significantly increase food production and boost food security by up to 95%, which will exceed the growth of our already large population. There will be concrete measures taken to address the issues of overworked soil, communal instability, and climate change. Number 3, solid minerals. An integrated capital investment platform is the gateway to national wealth creation and ending poverty through productivity inclusion. This concept is a sure pathway to rapid wealth creation and sustainability for national development and improved livelihoods through solid minerals value chain and productive investment alternative inclusion, couched under human capital leveraging and asset utilization. Every inch of the soil in northern Nigeria is sitting on at least 20 different mineral resources. Almighty Allah, in His infinite mercy, has given this to us free. The same can be said of other parts of the country. The North has no business being poor. Nigeria is among the 3 most endowed countries with mineral resources in Africa. When you add the oil wealth, Nigeria towers head and shoulders above not only Africa, but among most countries of the world. With this high global rating, northern Nigeria, therefore, needs to champion a renaissance in harnessing the potentials in the solid mineral sector, a vast percentage of which is in the 19 states and the FCT up across the Niger. Northern Nigeria can lead the migration from the current feeble and development-rated economy that has high poverty ratio among the bottom of the pyramid, BOP Nigerians, through a cooperative productive inclusion platform, CPI, to a viable guaranteed poverty elimination and replacement of the BOP citizens on a sustainable economic growth trajectory enabling peace and harmonious living. The establishment of the integrated enterprise productivity inclusion platforms in each of the 19 states of northern Nigeria will influence commercial production and value addition towards individual and national self-sustenance, thereby boosting commercial output and other viable investment portfolios such as agro-mineral export continuum for increased national productivity. This is expected to create over 10 million jobs for youth and others immediately. The revenue earnings for government at all levels, federal and state and local governments, will receive an exponential boost. The model has the potential to generate over 50 trillion naira cumulative per capita income annually. Insurgency, banditry, and other social vices will be reduced drastically. It will boost our foreign reserve earning and stabilization of the economy. 4. Training of use of renewable energy system, solar, wind, and biomass as a component of livelihoods enhancement and a response to climate change. 5. Passing on the gift, a social intervention concept. The anticipated result from the scheme is to service up to 1,000 households per state for the 19 states. Other benefits that will accrue immediately include increase in income for the household due to the multiplier impact of the program. 6. Tissue culture propagation of seedlings, a simplified neglected intervention. This concept builds an average of 2 million seedlings a year using micro-propagation. Elite fruits such as mangoes, bananas, papaya, strawberries, etc. are targeted for this concept. Our indigenous trees such as tamarind, etc., which are going extinct, can be mass propagated and replanted using this technique. Number 7. Domestication and taking advantage of benefit from the Nigeria Startup Act 2022 for business. On the 19th of October 2022, former President Muhammadu Buhari, DCFR, signed into law the Nigerian Startup Act, NSA 2022. Northern Nigerian states can be supported to take the advantage of the Act to enable its companies conduct research, train people, and create globally impactful products. It will enable growth in this sector and impact the teeming youth and economy of northern states, especially the downstream component, as the value chain. Northern states will receive immediate benefit by having its young companies founded under the Startup Act to develop unique products or services and bring them to the market. States can begin to harness the gains of the Act in the next 3 months by bringing onto the startup registration and engagement portal at least 400 northern-based startups to start benefiting from the opportunities offered by the Act. This will propel northern states' economy in an astronomical rise in foreign and local investment. At this stage, ANA wishes to appeal to the federal government to take a second look at some of its policy measures, such as the ECOWAS sanctions on Niger Republic, especially the closure of borders, as it has negative implications for the economy of the states of northern Nigeria. The National Social Investment Program, NSIP, is a very critical intervention of the federal government. It is important to urge the committee reviewing the program to take a deep dive into the functionality and the social impact of the program so that it can reach the targeted vulnerable households that are much in need. This will enable the program to deliver on its mandate in the face of worsening economic situation in the country. The suspension of the program should serve as an avenue to correct the public health perception of abysmal performance of the NSIP by taking a cue from other models around the world, such as the Cuban model, the Bangladesh model, Tanzanian model, etc., that have succeeded in reaching the people most in need so that it can be customized and adapted accordingly. In conclusion, the Ariani agenda would like to reiterate its position as a forum that is striving to provide solutions to the challenges facing the North and by extension our great country Nigeria. We will not relent in this effort as we are optimistic that the inherent potential for greatness that this country has is real and attainable. Thank you very much and God bless.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.